have the Ayatollah of fantasy rock and roller with us today, Adam Rank. How you doing, Rank?
They look great in person, and I just can't wait till next year where we can pack it full of 25,000.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. I didn't know it was Ball Guys Day. It was being ranked. I mean, how can you lose?
This is the Dynasty Vipers ViperCast.
And we're back, and we are here to talk about running backs here on the Dynasty Vipers ViperCast, episode 121, with my running back guru here, Major Caldwell, joining me. And you know what? There's not a whole lot of running backs to talk about. But hey, we are presented by Fantasy Points Media Group. Head to fantasypoints.com and get that subscription today. Hey, do you want to save a few bucks? Use promo code Vipers22. We got you covered. Now let's talk about some of these running backs who have kind of traded places. Who's in new places? And you know, two of them, we can go kill two birds here with one stone, because the Miami Dolphins, they really hate Myles Gaskin. They hate him. They absolutely hate him. I mean, everything in this running back that have actually signed that actually makes sense for trading places. Yes, a lot of running backs. James Conner, he's back in Arizona. Yes, J.D. McKissick, he is back in Washington after flirting with Buffalo there for a period of time. Leonard Fournette, he kind of took a phone call, went to go check out New England, probably got a little intel, came back to Tampa Bay, say, Tom, you're my guy.
Yeah.
Everything else at the running back position circles around the Miami Dolphins. The three different running backs who have now relocated. Two of them are going to Miami, and one is going from Miami to Buffalo. Let's talk about the one leaving the beach, leaving South Beach. Why would you leave South Beach to go to Buffalo? I mean, Buffalo is the better team in my opinion, but Duke Johnson basically came in off the street, came into Miami and supplanted Myles Gaskin right off the get-go, became the RB1 in Miami. Miami had different options here. They went a different route, but Duke Johnson in Buffalo. What are your thoughts? Because Duke Johnson, I would think that Duke Johnson would be the guy that's kind of you'd really be fond of.
No, I actually like him. He's really underrated in what he does. I don't think his role is as a lead dog, but I think he is a good third down back. He catches the ball well. He runs in like critical situations. I actually like him. Buffalo is that running back. That room is just like all over the place. I do like how Singletary. I like how he performed at the end of the year. He kind of came on a bit, so hopefully he can like build on that and supplant himself as that number one back in that offense. And then Duke can come in and you know, help him out a little bit. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. It's pretty boring for the running backs right now.
It is. So let's get on to the two that are coming to Miami. One is going from the desert to the beach, and the other is going from the Golden Gate to the beach. We have Chase Edmonds leaving the desert there. He was kind of in a platoon situation there with James Conner. Well, now he gets to be joined by Raheem Mostert as well.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this? I mean, you're literally the resident Raheem Mostert kind of backer here, aren't you?
I like both of these backs, but I don't know what Miami is doing. They went out and got two more Myles Gaskins. They're all like pretty much the same caliber type running back. So like like last year they did the same thing. They keep getting these like backup caliber type running backs. They need to like go into the draft and get one of these young guys and see what they can do. Hopefully they can hit on one. But I mean, Chase Edmonds, he had the perfect opportunity to be the number one back in Arizona. It didn't work out. You know, James Conner kind of beat him out. I do like him leaving Arizona because I'm a big, Benjamin fan. So hopefully this year he can get some run. Raheem is a really good running back. But the injury bugs, he can't stay healthy. So hopefully if Raheem can stay healthy, he's going to be the guy out there in Miami. That dude he's a hard runner. He makes every run I've always seen him was a 15-yard run. I've never seen him do a 5-yard, 3-yard run. Everything is like 10 or 15 yards. So the guy can play. is just staying healthy. We've seen him in that playoff run. Was it a year ago, a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, he performed well in the playoffs maybe a couple years ago. So to me, he's the lead guy there if he can stay healthy. I think he can beat those other ones out.
Well, his familiarity with the coaching staff there, I think, is what played a big role in him coming over there, right? We watched some of the coaching staff from San Francisco. They're heading to Miami as well. So that brings Mostert there. Now, my question is, I'm looking at some of these other running backs that are still free agents. Melvin Gordon. Definitely a guy that if I was Miami, I probably would have knocked the door. I mean, the dude was pretty good there, even splitting carries with Javonte Williams.
Right.
I think I would rather have Melvin Gordon than Mostert. I'd rather have Melvin Gordon, I think, than Chase Edmonds. Now, I don't know what the dollars are, who's asking what. Melvin Gordon is a little bit older, but, I mean, he's got a lot left on him. Sony Michel, when given an opportunity last year with the Rams, he did well. Ronald Jones, another guy at Tampa Bay. I know a lot more. He is a very niche type player, isn't he? I mean, you got people that spit venom at him all the time and do not like him, cannot stand him. And then you've got those truthers out there that absolutely love Ronald Jones. I think he can be one of those guys. Major, you just raised your hand basically admitting that you actually like Ronald Jones. Why?
Ronald, he runs hard. Like, there's no left and right to his game. He's going to take that ball and he's going to run 100%, like 90 miles per hour into whoever's in front of him. And I think that's the reason he keeps getting hurt. He needs a little more finesse to his game. But one, he's an SC guy. Two, he runs hard. I love any running back that runs hard, but he does need to get a little more finesse in his game. And I think he needs to be in kind of like the Denver that stretch offense. He needs to be in that type of an offense. So hopefully he can find that. I can't think off the top of my head who else kind of runs that. But I see him going back to Tampa. Tom Brady has a way of getting people to sign back, at least for one more year,
Yeah, but you're assuming that Tom Brady actually wants him back. I mean, he did drop a few passes there. Once you drop a few passes, that might be just the end of you all.
Who do they have? They have Leonard Fournette and they have Gio.
Keyshawn Vaughn. Gio's a free agent as well. Gio was a free agent right now. So Keyshawn Vaughn's there. The draft is definitely an option for Tampa Bay. And I mean, I think a lot of these running backs are going to have to wait and see approach. I don't think we'll see any of these guys really signed until after the draft now.
Great point.
Maybe Melvin Gordon finds a spot. What I'm interested in is Marlon Mack. I love myself some Marlon Mack if he is healthy.
Right.
I mean, if he can get himself right, and that's a big if coming back from that injury, right? He wasn't there last year. I mean, the Indianapolis Colts wanted him to be there last year. They actually took the ball away from Jonathan Taylor to try and get Marlon Mack involved in this offense.
Forgot about that.
It just was not happening. So I think if Marlon Mack and maybe another season, maybe he's a guy that if I'm the Denver Broncos and I want to give Javonte Williams the run of the mill, he's maybe a guy I'm interested in bringing in. Not a real threat to Williams. Not a real threat. Low risk. You're probably going to get him dirt cheap because there's going to be the flags with the injury. Obviously, running backs are not in high demand, so there's an option. There's some other running backs here as well that are filler-type guys. Tyree Cohen. Basically, he was cut from the Bears. Still not 100% after taking that shot a couple seasons ago now. He seems like he's been injured for 2 years now. Jeffrey Wilson, another guy you're familiar with there, San Francisco,
I like
still
him a lot.
unemployed. Carlos Hyde, another cap casualty there in Jacksonville. Devonta Freeman.
Too old.
I mean, you got guys coming back there now in Baltimore. You've got Gus Edwards. You got J.K. Dobbins. There ain't no play for you. Stay close to your phone. You may get a call here week 2 or 3. And then obviously Gio Bernard is another running back who is available right now. Of all those running backs that I mentioned, let's talk about the first tier versus the second tier. Which running back in that first tier that I mentioned are you most interested in? That's Melvin Gordon and Leonard Fournette. Well, let's take Leonard Fournette because he's off the market now. Gordon, Michel, Jones, or Mack? Who's that guy that you're most interested in?
I'm gonna go with Gordon. Like you said, he played really well. And again, he bust off some big runs last year. I've seen a couple like 20-yard, 30-yard, a couple 40-yard touchdowns actually. So he still has the burst. He still has the speed. I don't know why he's kind of bouncing around now because he's a solid running back. Yeah, so out of that group, I would take him and followed up. I don't really like Marlon Mack, but it takes a couple years for people to come back from these type of those ACL injuries and all that good stuff. So we'll see how he performs this year. But you hit it right on the head. I think a lot of these running backs are going to have to wait till after the draft to really get picked up.
Yeah, I mean, that second tier, I think you're going to be sitting on the phone call waiting as a filler replacement. See what happens with the undrafted free agents and some young blood coming in, because some of these guys are past their prime. They can still get the job done.
Real quick on that second tier, Tyree Cohen, to me, is one of those perfect third down backs. Like, I think he'll get a job quickly because that's always a thing in the league. And Jeffrey Wilson, when he had an opportunity to perform, he showed out. Like, I don't know. I mean, I know why. He just got beat out, with the Niners, but he can play. So I will keep an eye on him and Tariq Cohen in that second group.
Yeah, you know what? I think with Tariq Cohen, it's more about the red flags with the injuries more than anything right now. Speaking of red flags, we need to throw a flag on this tight end position. We're going to jump into the tight end position, talk about it. There was nothing that was like, ooh la la, nothing that really got you going here when you look at this tight end position. There really wasn't. I mean, we're going to talk about CJ Uzomah and Tyler Conklin going to the New York Jets. We're going to talk about Evan Ingram. We're going to talk OJ Howard. We're going to talk Hooper, Hearst, and Everett here in just a second. But what is your thoughts on the tight end last year? Let's look at the tight end position, the wasteland that was the tight end position, and let's take a look at it from a fantasy perspective. What were your thoughts on the tight end position in fantasy last year? Yeah, there's really no words that you need to put into that, is there?
That's it. Like, it was, even the stars wasn't, we got no one really stood out. No one really did anything, So I don't know.
We had the Mark Andrews breakout. Mark Andrews came, he played last year.
It felt like that was like the year before. So I'll give you that one. I give you Mark Andrews, but other than that, it was pretty quiet. So I don't know. We'll see.
Travis Kelce had a down year, air quotations in full. He still does what he does.
Yeah.
But you had guys like Darren Waller who battled injury all season, who slid out of there. Kyle Pitts couldn't catch a touchdown to save his life there either. So, I mean, he had one touchdown the entire season. He still was top, I think, 10 as far as fantasy production is concerned. And he's going to be a top 3 tight end one way or the other, if not the number one fantasy option.
Now, like,
that's the problem. We don't know. We don't know what that situation is going to be. As hyped as you got to assume he's going to get targeted, but who's going to take that pressure off him?
Exactly.
It's not just who's throwing him the ball. Who else is out there?
Great call.
Uzomah Zacchaeus? Is that a guy that's going to really scare you? No. Like, Atlanta needs to get some of these free agents that we're going to talk about a little bit later in the wide receiver position. But let's kind of circle back here. The Jets went out there and they got themselves 2 tight ends because, hey, if you can't get yourself one good one, let's get 2 maybe tight ends. I mean, they've basically got this down of mediocre tight ends for years so far. They went out there, though, got CJ Uzomah, who I like, and then went out there and got Tyler Conklin, who had a bit of a breakout last year, filling in for Irv Smith Jr. in Minnesota. What are your thoughts on these 2 tight ends?
CJ's going to give you 1, 2, maybe even 3 games. Every season, he gives you those games where, like, oh, my gosh, let me let me search the free agency to grab him real quick. But he never really does anything after you pick him up out of the scraps. And Conklin just has one of the worst names for any football player. You don't want to be conky. You don't want to be like a clunker. You want to be agile. You want to be swift. You want to be like, you want to move. You want to be water. Like, you can't. Yeah, I don't know about that. So we'll see. But they do have a young quarterback there, and we all know a young quarterback best friend is a tight end. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But both of these guys are like, man.
Well, I thought you were going to go with the name Tyler. Name one good person who's named Tyler in the NFL.
You said one good person in the world?
One good player. Name one good player in the NFL with the name Tyler. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Great call. Great call.
We'll have to get our fact checkers and our research team on that here. And bring that to you on the next show. But moving on here, would you rather have CJ Uzomah or would you rather have Hayden Hearst? Because Hayden Hearst is going from Atlanta, another one of those pass catchers that's no longer in Atlanta. He's heading to Cincinnati to replace CJ Uzomah. Who would you rather have, Hearst or Uzomah?
I would rather have Hearst. I really like Hearst. I just don't like the spot he landed in because now he's like the 4th, maybe 5th receiver on that team, So, but he has the athletic ability. He has that like gusto that you want from your tight end. So it's a great fit. I just don't. He's not going to get the targets he needs to be relevant in fantasy. But I do like his ability, and I just don't like that spot for him.
Speaking of bad spots, how about the spots on Evan Ingram's hands? Because everything about his hands are bad, but I'm sure there's going to be some spots that are even worse. Sorry, I didn't really have a way to segue into that, but hey, I threw that out there.
You try.
Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram is going from the New York Football Giants, and he's heading down to Duval County because the Jacksonville Jaguars, they went out there and they signed everybody who was a free agent in the first couple of days of the free agency period, including Evan Ingram. What are your thoughts on Evan Ingram heading to the New York Giants? Because this feels like, hey, you fooled me once, shame on you. Fooled me twice, oh, this is going to be on me, and I'm not ready to take this one. What are your thoughts?
I think he's probably the best athlete in the NFL. He just can't catch. He needs to get some LASIK surgery or something, or I don't know. But sometimes when you have a great quarterback, he can throw that ball and pinpoint it right on you to where you can't mess it up. We'll see if that happens. But you're going to get some drops, but you will get some big plays here and there. So it's, I don't know. I think they pulled the trigger a little too early on that one, but I'd rather have like Austin Hooper, or I think Hayden would have been perfect for Jacksonville. So it's not exciting. It's just like like New York is a better move from New York not to re-sign him. I thought they were going to do that.
Well, catching the ball is very important when you're a pass catching tight end. So I think that kind of limits what you can do on the field there. Speaking of limitations there, O.J. Howard was quite limited in his time in Tampa Bay. Never really lived up to those expectations coming out of Alabama. Right. Can he rejuvenate himself in Buffalo? They've already got Dawson Knox already in place there. They've got Stephon Diggs. He's doing his thing. Gabriel Davis is doing his thing. Jamison Crowder was just signed there recently to the Buffalo Bills. So now you're looking at a fourth option. The Bills let go Cole Beasley. They let go Emmanuel Sanders. O.J. Howard in Buffalo.
Again, it's another one of those like womp womp. Like he has the ability as well, but like you just stated, he's going to play. Dalton Knox came on, so I think he's there just to back him up. I don't know if it's not going to be like a timeshare or anything there. I think he's there as the backup. So I think Dalton Knox is to like supplanted himself as that number one tight end. So I think OJ is going to be sitting behind tight ends like he was in Tampa Bay. So, it is what it is.
Then we got two more tight ends here that are really interesting for me, especially the location. Austin Hooper going to Tennessee, a very run-heavy team. And then you've got Gerald Everett, who has all kinds of talent, never really broke out yet, going to a team that really needed a tight end in the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, quickly give me your thoughts on Hooper, the Titans, and the Chargers and Gerald Everett.
I just picked Hooper up in one of these drafts I'm in. So I'm excited for him. I think he probably is number 2 pass catcher right now because they don't really have too many receivers out there.
They got
Robert. They got Wood. So he's third. He's third now. But I love the Gerald Everett pick. But again, he's kind of like the Melvin Ingram, the most talented guy. But it just, for some reason, we
loved Gerald Everett in Seattle last year. We got excited about Gerald Everett going to Seattle a couple seasons ago.
Especially with Russell Wilson, you thought was going to click, and it never really came to fruition. So hopefully he can get, because the Chargers are known for having tight ends. So maybe they lean on him a little bit more, give him a little more, targets. But we'll see. What's your thought?
Gerald Everett reminds me of the old cookie jar on the cupboard. Here we go. You know what I mean? You're reaching in there to get that cookie. You know there is some sweetness in that cookie jar. You're about to reach in. You got your hand in there. Bam! Mama comes in and just gives you a good whack on the hand. And you know it's going to hurt. Going with Gerald Everett is going to hurt once again. I want to get that sweetness. I want to get that double chocolate chip cookie out of there. I'm a fat guy. I like myself some pastries. I love myself some cookies. But Gerald Everett's just going to bring you pain, no matter how you look at it. Mama don't want no Gerald Everett.
Cookie, or is he the mama? I don't.
It's whatever you want it to be. All I'm telling you right now, if you you're not going to be able to reach into that cookie jar. You're not going to get that sweetness, that fantasy relevancy, because mama going to come and mama going to knock you out, so to speak, if you know what I'm saying. Now, Austin Hooper, on the other hand, Austin Hooper, I hope you can block. I really do, because I don't see how this Titans team is going to be supporting a pass catcher. Hanging with Mr. Hooper. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You remember watching Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Hanging with Mr. Hooper is going to be the most boring show in the world. Hanging with Mr. Cooper was cool because he was like a player with the Golden State Warriors. Hanging with Mr. Hooper, you're watching other fat dudes in the trenches. That's all you're going to do. You might be able to release every once in a while. They may let you go for a little bit of run down the field. But if Tannehill's going to throw the ball, he's already got two options. Option one, A.J. Brown. Option two, possibly Robert Woods, which we'll talk about here in a little bit later.
But both of those guys tend to be hurt a little bit, so he could be a good fill-in, on those weeks where those other guys are injured.
Tell me what Anthony Ferkster did last year, because I know for a fact, and I'm as guilty as anybody on this. When Jonnu Smith left the Titans for that $12.5 million per year contract with the New England Patriots, I got excited for Anthony Ferkster. I was like, this is a guy you can draft in the 12th round. He is going to pay off because all these tight ends are not good. The tight end position was bad. So I was like, hey, this is a guy you can get late in drafts that's going to pay off. It never did. There was no payday with Anthony Ferkster. Zero. Nada.
Not even on tight end day? National tight end day, he didn't do anything?
No, not even on National Tight End Day. I think it was bad. It was just so bad. I mean, I'm not even going to go there right now. I don't know what I think. Austin Hooper is a better pass catcher than Ferkster is. Yeah. I think Austin Hooper, we've seen what he did with the Atlanta Falcons. He's got talent. He can play. But I mean, if you're looking at pass catchers, it really goes like this. Here's your top four pass catchers for the Tennessee Titans. 1, A.J. Brown. 2, Robert Woods. 3, Derrick Henry. 4, former Texas A&M wide receiver, Ryan Tannehill. That's your top 4 pass catchers in Tennessee. Now, let's talk about some pass catchers at the tight end position who are currently unemployed. Now, we know Rob Gronkowski. He's still trying to get that He's still trying to get that ASAA discount there on all with the insurance stuff. He's coming back to Tampa Bay. Maybe he's bringing Julian Edelman back. I don't know. There's kind of a cryptic tweet that was out there not too long ago. So we know Gronk. We're going to take him off the board here. We talked about Ferkster. We talked about the Chargers there. Jared Cook, he had an okay season with the Chargers. He's a little bit long in the tooth. Jimmy Graham, I would say Jimmy Graham is long in the tooth, but he lost his teeth years ago. That's how old he is. Jimmy Graham is not who he once was. I mean,
yeah. And Ebron as well. Like Ebron, Graham, and Cook, all three of those guys are just, like you said, long in the tooth. I say grandpa vibes. Frisker, again, I think that the game is kind of moving away from the tight end position a bit. It's more spread out. You got these little slot receivers running around everywhere. You got the 4 receiver set. So I think the tight ends are kind of getting phased out, kind of like how the running backs are getting phased out a little bit. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully they can turn it around this year.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I really don't. And I think if you want to know what Evan Ingram's going to look like when he grows up, it's going to be Eric Ebron. That's exactly what Evan Ingram's going to look like when he grows up. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. If you look at their hands,
that's a good one. Look at their hands, I give you that one. I give that to you. Good job. Good job.
So let's stop talking about guys who can't catch the ball. Let's forget about these guys who can't catch the ball.